Hey everyone, Token Dave over here. Dorky Token Black Guy who's just trying to get by. And welcome to another edition of The Token List, my ranking for a particular subject matter. Well, Halloween Ends is out and it's divisive. Shocker. While I have not seen the movie yet, I fully intend to because, unlike other slasher movie franchises or series, Halloween has been the one that I've seen the most in theaters consecutively since 1988. So rest assured, I will see this movie. But I have not talked about the Halloween movies on my channel, nor even gave much of a mention on social media. So it's well overdue that I give my thoughts on the series, and I just figured, what the hell? Let me just rank the movies right here, right now. So, couple of things. First and foremost, this is going to be a long video. It's probably going to be my longest video. So, if you don't want to sit down and watch, you could listen and just do something else. But I'm just letting you know, there's going to be a long video. So, bear with me. Number two, I'm more of a casual fan. I've only watched the movies. I don't know anything outside of the media, outside of the movies. So, bear with me on that. Next, these are my favorite movies, so it is not ranked in what I think is the best. It's just the ones that I've watched the most and the ones that I like the most, because what I think are the best movies, different lists. And finally, spoiler warning, I will give spoilers away. All right. So with all that said, let's go into the bottom of the list. Number 12, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. What the hell? Seriously, like, I'm one of those people that actually loved what Rob Zombie did in the first movie, which you'll see later. But yeah, other than the first 10 minutes and Brad Dourif's performance, oh, this movie destroyed a lot of characters from the movie lore. Like, I wasn't even a fan of Laurie Strode in Rob Zombie's first movie, and she's worse in this. What they do to Dr. Loomis is a bastardization. You know, uh, the white horse thing is like, what the hell? Like, seriously, like, Rob, what the hell happened and everything? I know, basically, you just said, screw it, making me do another movie. I'll just do it in my way. They like the way I did it first time. Fuck it. I got it, but dear God, Rob, you could have done a lot better. All right. Number 11, Halloween 5. Uh, I don't know why, but I saw this when I was 8 years old in theaters, and this one scared me. And upon rewatch, I don't know why it scared me, because this is the least scariest of them all, and it's not really interesting. And what they left off from the first movie, they didn't go with it, and that was a huge disappointment. Uh, Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis in this one is by far like the worst, other than the previous movie that I mentioned, and what they did to Rachel in this movie. Oh, screw you. And replacing her with Tina. Now, granted, Tina in that vampire outfit, yo, sup, hey, yo, hey. But other than that, she was just a very aggravating character. And so Donald Pleasance's and Daniel Harris's talents were wasted in this movie. So, yeah, really bad one. Number 10, Halloween Resurrections. Do you know what number 10, 11, and 12 have in common? They actually made the previous movie that came right before them much worse and a huge downgrade. Halloween Resurrection. Dear Lord. First, you killed Jamie Lee Curtis in the beginning. Now, I know she didn't want to do another Halloween movie because she was done, but seriously, they could have wrote her off in a different way. And the characters are very forgettable, and I also am not a fan of reality TV, so that didn't work for me. I am not one of those people that hates that Busta Rhymes actually fought Michael Myers off using martial arts. Granted, using martial arts to kill Michael Myers by knocking him into electricity, that was lame. All right, I'll admit that. But using martial arts to hold Michael Myers off at bay, uh, I actually like that. So I didn't have a problem with that. But the whole movie, other than that, the whole movie is really forgettable and really, really bland, and it just blows. Um, uh, all right, number 9, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween 6, Halloween 666, whatever. Uh, I am not one of those people that's separating the theatrical cut or the producer's cut. It's one and the same to me. And actually, to be honest, the producer's cut makes Michael Myers, it makes him disgusting if you really think about it, you know. And if you do not know what I'm talking about, there's a lot of things on the internet and YouTube that you could discover about that. But anywho, so this is the first movie I actually saw in theaters as a teenager. Well, the first Halloween movie I saw in theaters as a teenager, and I was very underwhelmed by it. I will say this is actually my second favorite interpretation of Michael Myers. I will give it that. I do understand why Paul Rudd's acting is not that great, because I do like, this is actually my favorite interpretation of Tommy Doyle, right? He's more of a recluse and distant and considered a bit of a weirdo and an outcast, but Paul Rudd's performance could have been a little bit better to portray that. But other than that, and this is the last movie that Donald Pleasance did, and this is his last Dr. Loomis appearance. And I have to say, compared to Halloween 5, I will say this Dr. Loomis is an improvement. But the kills are awesome. This Mike Myers is awesome. It's just everything that was put together around it. It was not effective, very forgettable, not as good. So let's move on. Okay, here are my mid-tier lists, where these are movies that I don't hate, but they're not ones that I can really recommend, you know, for the most part. And I'm kicking it off with, you know, next, number 7, Halloween 2018. I personally think this one is the most overrated of all the Halloween movies. Granted, this interpretation of Mike Myers is my favorite Michael Myers. This portrayal is my favorite. He has the brutality. He has that evil. He has that evil in flesh, incarnate, and everything, which is awesome. I do like that Jamie Lee Curtis decided to come back. I like her granddaughter, and I like the black kid that's in it. But I actually think that while this is written in a certain way to pay homage to, you know, John Carpenter, I think it was a little overbloated, and I actually, you know, really ended up getting bored through most of this movie. You know, the final confrontation was actually awesome, I will say that, but things in between and things that were added really, really felt unnecessary, and there was a lot of characters I didn't like, didn't care for, but still, you know, it's not as bad as the other ones on lower on the list, but I think it's just really overrated. Oh, and by the way, the twist with the new doctor and everything, yeah, that was lame. No lie. Number, oh yeah, this is actually number 6. No, this is number 7. Sorry, number 7. Halloween Kills. This one I like more than 2018, which people hate this one, and I'm noticing that basically this one is more of a social commentary on basically mob rule, which, let's be honest, January 6th, this is a perfect parallel to January 6th, where people are not being rational and being led by somebody that overly filled with emotion and like not being rational and mob mentality. And you know, it's a reflection of modern American society right now. And I noticed that most people, when they have their own, when they have their own reflection shown at them, I'm not talking about physical, I'm talking about psychological and behavioral, they can't handle it. And that's why I think that this movie, a lot of people didn't like about this movie. I will say that I like the kills on equal footing. However, I did actually like one character. Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter got a little redeemed in this movie because I hated her in the first movie. This movie redeemed her for the most part until the very end when she did something really stupid and got what she deserved. And speaking of getting what they deserved, this town jumps Mike Myers, and it looks like they didn't know what the hell they were doing because, dear God, you went 20 deep on this guy and still ended up getting killed. Oh, and some of the legacy characters from the first movie that came back, that they wrote back in, real disservice. So that's my biggest complaint about it. The jumping of Michael Myers, the end of the epic fail, and the legacy's characters that are back. All right. Number 6, Rob Zombie's Halloween. This is the most misunderstood movie to me. Granted, I get people saying that they don't care about Michael Myers having a bad childhood and everything, and I do get that people are very much put off by Rob Zombie's redneck, white trash family thingamajig. I get that, but it goes into like basically people just say one of the things that scared them about Mike Myers is just he's just blank and like he's just pure evil. Where here we see how both nature and nurture will make you evil. And one of the things that I also have empathy for with this movie, I grew up in a residential treatment home for some time, and seeing the dynamic between Loomis and Myers, how they communicated, and Michael's slow descent into evil throughout those years, and him living inside his head to try to maintain what little of his human form. I got that, and I really appreciated that. And besides, Sheri Moon Zombie, this is her best performance, in my opinion, in any movie that I've seen her in. And that's all well and good. But I will say, I could not stand majority of the characters, especially what they did to Laurie Strode. She was so unlikable. And I'm surprised that Danielle Harris was back in this movie, though she didn't play the character that I was hoping she would play. But still, it was interesting to see her back in this, but, I prefer her in a different movie. But yeah, Rob Zombie's Halloween, misunderstood, underrated, underappreciated. Now we're in my top 5, and my number 5 and 4 are interchangeable, but for this list, I'm going for now, number 5 is Halloween 2, 1981. This is always going to hold a place in my heart because this is the very first Halloween movie that I ever saw. And, this Halloween movie actually also, this is the first movie I saw that I really felt continuity was done very effectively for the most part. If you really squint, there are very small nitpick misses, but this continuity between the original movie and this one was amazing and immaculate. Well, not immaculate, but amazing. The hospital setting is awesome. I'm one of the few people that did like the brother sister connection. I know people didn't like it, or some people said it was corny. Hell, John Carpenter himself didn't like it, which, okay, all well and good, but I enjoyed that little connection and how it played out in some movies later in the series. And this was the movie that established some of the kills that we see later on in the series, and I just really enjoyed this movie. And like I said, this is the first Halloween movie that I saw, so it's always going to be in my top rankings, but, I really enjoy it. But right now, it's just below number 4, H2O. This was the first good, and to be honest, this has been the best Halloween movie that I've seen in movie theaters. Oh my God. Jamie Lee Curtis coming back to the role after 20 years was awesome. And this is my favorite interpretation of Laurie Strode. Traumatized, yes, but down to earth to a degree. You can understand her being overprotective, yet she is not Terminator obsessive and everything. I didn't like that portion in 2018. Here, grounded, but a badass. And then when her kids are in danger, and then seeing that it's Michael, and how they have their confrontation. This was the way the whole series should have ended. And quite frankly, the very end when she chops his head off, I clapped and the whole theater clapped. This should have ended the series. Just saying. All right, top three now. Number three, Season of Witch. This one, I'm sorry. I hated it because it didn't have Mike Myers, but then after rewatching it a few times in my teens, I really enjoyed this movie so much. In fact, I personally feel that the fact that it's part of the Halloween franchise is one of the reasons why it's not the horror classic that it deserves to be. Because if you just called the Season of the Witch, this would be awesome. Oh my God, using the Halloween commercialism to actually massacre so many people all in the world, based on an actual cultish ritual, Irish cultish ritual. This was freaking well thought out, well executed, and Tom Atkins is awesome in anything he does. Come on, guys. But yeah, Halloween Season of the Witch, number three on my list, and the third Halloween movie that was made. All right, number two, the original. And here's where, like I said, my list is controversial. Now, I'm going to say this. This is number two on my list, but I'll be frank, this is the best Halloween movie that was made. If we're going to talk about it as a film, this is definitely the best one. And this actually created the prototype of all slashers down the road. So I give it all that credit. And to be honest, I still really enjoy watching, this one, then Halloween 2, then H2O. That's basically my ranking. That I will have a marathon with those three movies. And to be honest, that's the best way the franchise is. That all said, as much as I have fun with this one, it is not my favorite, which my favorite is actually Halloween 4. Now, one of the things about Halloween 4, for starters, first Halloween movie I saw in theaters, and to be honest, the only one that I saw in theaters that got better than this was Halloween H2O, but still, this one is actually my favorite because, number one, Mike Myers in this movie is back to being that force, but something that they reestablish that most people don't talk about, Mike Myers' intelligence, which, him systematically, cutting the power, going after the police officers, then going after the town, great idea. Danielle Harris as Jamie Lloyd is my favorite protagonist of the whole film series, and I hate what they did to her in part 6. Rachel is my actual second favorite, dual antagonist, with her being Jamie's older sister and protector. And the return of, Donald Pleasance is awesome in this. And this one's a lot of fun for me. And it is the one that I watch the most. If I'm not binge watching or doing a marathon, I usually try to watch this one at least a couple of times a year. So this is my favorite Halloween movie in the whole film series. Agree? Disagree? Oh, I know there's going to be some disagreements, but drop them in the comments below. Give me a like. Follow me on Facebook at Token Dave, or on Twitter and Instagram at Token Dave 80. Subscribe. Ring that bell so you know when new video loads. But until then, this has been Token Dave, dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. Catch all of y'all later.